I was looking this morning, it doesn't seem like we've done 182 episodes, does it? Well, I hope that we have 182 more. When we started WAOC, 3.5 years ago, I just wanted to talk a little bit about operations, something I'd always done myself, working in the warehouse and transportation fields, and how with just a little effort on my end, I was able to advance from within and into more challenging roles and duties. And oh my gosh, I've enjoyed hearing from so many of you about your own advancements and all the excitement so many of you have for ops. If you're a long-term listener, you know how passionate I get about our jobs. Hey, we're going to be working for the rest of our lives, so we might as well enjoy what we do, right? The last few weeks, we've been talking about advancement and a few of the opportunities out there for us. And I don't want to get away from that just yet, but it's been a week of missed chances for so many of us this week. Or I'm hearing so many stories of how a situation could have been handled differently with much better outcomes for us as employees, that I kind of thought we'd blend the two topics together. So let's start here today. A gentleman was working sanitation for a good-sized distribution company, and by all accounts, he was doing a great job. He was working for a third-party agency, and he'd been with them for about 3 years. Now, the customer had recognized him a couple of different times for the good work and dedication that he'd showed him over the years, and overall, they thought he was a great employee, dependable and reliable. He went to his facilities manager and was very professionally asking if he could move into another department, something that maybe paid a little bit more money. Now, he was an experienced warehouseman. He had held positions as an unloader or lumper, and he'd done some order selecting at a couple of different places before accepting his present position there. The manager acknowledged the good job he was doing, but flatly told him that no, he'd need to stay with them in sanitation. Now, as you can imagine, that was quite deflating to his morale. It was at this point he reached out to his company. Remember, he was actually working with an agency, a third party. They were the ones that he reported to. He had asked his company's customer for another job. Now, his company, the third party, actually supplied lumpers and order selectors for this account. Had he asked his boss about moving departments, it would have been as simple as transferring him and sending a replacement to fill his sanitation position. And I can definitely understand our thought process here. We were working for a third party, reporting to work at the same location every day and doing the same job. It is so easy to build relationships with those working around us or with us. It's all too easy to forget that we take directions from our supervisor, even if we're around other supervisors more often. We do not work for that company. He put himself in a position where he couldn't be moved now. The customer had went to his actual boss and expressed how, much of a good job this sanitation man was doing and that he didn't want him moved around at this time. It's that human nature thing we're always talking about. A job is a job, and we can't get comfortable with it. We have to treat it as such, follow our chain of command. It's always best to leave the politics to the politicians. We have a supervisor, and he or she's got our backs. More times than not, what I see when someone goes outside the organizational chart is failure, and we don't get what we want or what we deserve. His actual supervisor knows now what his employee would like to do, and he'll of course try and make something happen. It's just going to take a little while, though. Their customer has already stated he doesn't want to see any changes right now. Sometime's going to have to pass, and it'll probably all work out for him, or at least I hope it does. And then there was this one. I really hated it. An associate was hired and was given a start day of Friday. Thursday, he went to some training and his orientation. Towards the end, the trainer was going over everyone's start times and sharing how to get to their assigned departments. This gentleman spoke up and said he had spoken with his department head and had gotten permission to start on Tuesday. The trainer called to check with the recruiter, who in turn reached out to the department supervisor for more clarification. Well, it turns out he was busy, but another associate said that'd be fine, so the trainer was told to go ahead and set him up for Tuesday. Well, Friday morning, the supervisor called the trainer inquiring where his employee was, and he was not being very pleasant about it. As it turns out, the new associate wanted to take a long weekend before starting his new job. He had kind of misled everyone about having permission to start on Tuesday, and to make things worse, he'd told his new boss that the trainer and recruiter had told him to start Tuesday. It all kind of came unraveled on him, and he was dismissed before he ever hit the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, we've invested a lot of our own time in getting this job. It'll never turn out good for us to try and dictate our own rules or schedules. We've gotten hired. We have a job. It's our responsibility to follow direction and keep it. I assure you that our recruiter has 10 others that's ready and able to fill the position. And then I heard about 2 of these. No call, no shows. What is the reason a new hire would just ghost their new employer? Even if an emergency comes up, why would we not pick up the phone and give them a call? We've probably burned a bridge, and rarely like never, are we going to, talk ourselves off that ledge or explain a no-call, no-show well enough to keep our new job. And if anyone can explain a no-call, no-show to us, please do so. Just send an email to host@Warehouse and Operations as a Career. I've never met anyone that could really explain it to me before. Let's see, here's another one. With me being an old order selector, this one I can certainly relate to. A gentleman had been working for a national company. He'd been with them for like 4 or 5 years, probably just gotten a little comfortable there, and maybe got to thinking he was too good to be let go. He was an above-average order selector productivity-wise, but he had pointed out on his attendance and was dismissed. He was pretty lucky, though, and didn't have a problem finding a job. He was able to start the following week with a competitor, actually. Well, during his first week, he had already ran into trouble with his new trainer. He kept bringing up how he used to do things at his old employer, how the slotting should be different, how the WMS system should be changed. He kept telling the trainer how he wanted to do things instead of just doing them the way his new employer wanted him to do it. It's so important to remember that our employer is paying us to do a job their way. Now, of course, we can voice our opinions every once in a while, but let's wait till we've been employed for a bit, not just our first week. As we've discussed here at WAOC, a job is not guaranteed to us. We have to research, apply, and be chosen as an employee, and then it's our responsibility to follow directions, learn the way our employer wishes us to perform the task, and do it or complete it their way. The advancement opportunities are there in this industry, but every job task can be a career itself too. What other industry can boast positions like that? Seriously though, and this just isn't one of those opinions of mine, your success in the warehouse and transportation fields is absolutely in your hands. You can control it. Of course, we won't always be able to dictate the timing of our promotions or pay increases, but I do firmly believe we do control where we'll land within our careers. I think as employees, we need to be part of the solution. When things get tough, a system goes down, or we're shorthanded, or there's a lot of work to get done, those of us that help make things happen are the ones our management teams are going to remember. Human nature may try and drag us to the negative side, but our experiences can provide solutions. Being happy and having an open mind will make us that successful ops employee. Share your story with us. Maybe share something on our Facebook or Twitter feeds using that little @ WHSEANDOPS. And don't forget about the Warehouse Equipment Operators Community Group. And email us at host@warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com with any comments or topic suggestions. We love getting mail here. Until next week, let's think before we act and put our safety in those thoughts.